So welcome to the horizontal pull push squat workout. So this workout is a foundational workout. So you've got the main movements here. You've got the bent over row. So here I'm just doing a single arm bent over row, but going through different levels of it. So the first one, I've got the knees more bent. Then I'm going into straightening the legs out, hinging more forward with a horizontal spine, and then straightening the legs all the way. Now the one leg on the knee assists the back, so you can focus on stabilizing the spine, and then that one arm pull allows for a nice rotational component in terms of the shoulder blade moving around the rib cage, but you're maintaining a stable rib cage while you're doing it. You could do a version where you rotate the rib cage more, but this one I'm moving the shoulder blade around the rib cage and stabilizing the spine. So it's an isometric contraction through the spine and on also a nice bend isometric in that hold. So here just working through without the hand on the knee and then alternating the arms, so you're getting a nice cross body pattern. And the transverse plane load is also very effective for stabilizing the spine and making it much healthier, because load in life never comes in symmetrically, so it's important to train it with unsymmetrical loads as well. So here I am doing a symmetrical one, so this one you could load up heavier because it's even, and it also saves a bit of time doing both arms at the same time in a workout, but you're getting a much heavier load through the back and through the hips when you've got both arms loaded. And then you see the three different levels. So first about a 45-degree back angle with the knees bent, then going to a horizontal spine, and then horizontal with the straight leg. So it's really challenging those hamstrings at the same time. Here I'm doing the same exercise but just using the band. So you don't necessarily need dumbbells for this. You can use a band, really simple, minimal expense in terms of equipment. And here getting a nice pull, really using that full range of motion, squeezing the back, feeling the shoulder blades come down and back, and doing those same levels with the band. So you go one arm, you can go with the double arm. Here's a heavier version where I've raised the body and I'm getting more hip flexion and then pulling back and retracting the shoulder blades down and back. Here, starting with the body weight version, the easy version where there's more weight in the feet, but you can see here the benefit, getting that nice hollow body position when you're flexing forward and protracting the scaps and then pulling back. There I'm actually holding an external rotation, which is quite cool too for the extra stretch. You can also do the one arm ones here. So I like these versions if you're going heavier on the legs, because you're not doing that loaded leg with the bent over row, so it's just the upper body working. And then here you can make it harder by lengthening the lever. So you've got a longer lever, so it's more load in the upper body. Then here raising the feet up too, so to increase the load in the upper body. So there's less weight in the feet, more weight in the rings, nice vertical strap, and really getting that nice retraction. So you really use all the pull and push movements and the leg movements to stretch and strengthen. Here, stretching out the rhomboids and traps, and then strengthening them, and then stretching out the chest as you pull up as well. Here's a single arm cable pull. I used to do these because I worked the lunges with the horizontal pull and push. But a lot of people don't have this type of equipment, so I found that it's a bit more functional to integrate the squat pattern. Plus it works nicely with the side split and the front lever planche training, so it complements it. So here, getting that push-up basic version with, and this is probably the most used for programs, for home programs for clients. And this way you're getting that nice shoulder flexion stretch and lat stretch, as well as deloading the push-up. Then you go to the floor on the knees, getting that chest right down, so you're stretching the chest out and then pressing through, so you stretch through and really integrate the serratus and stretch out the rhomboids and the traps when you press right through and get that external rotation, and gradually making it harder, getting up on to the toes there, whereas before you're integrating the knee and the toe version, so that way it's a nice transition, and it's always good to make it harder. So here's the planche version. So you want to have a decent amount of reps before you progress. So I like working in between 3 and 12 reps. Sometimes, like if you want to be super safe, you wait till you can get 12 reps before you integrate it. or advance it to the next level. That's nice, and then from there, right over as far forward as you can, and then pressing right up, but you're trying to not let the spine break or buckle when you push up. Here from the front you can see the width of the wrists, and then pressing up. See my son making a mess in the gym, which is good. Keeps it busy. And then here, as you go closer, it gets heavier on the triceps, and then you're leaning further forward so that it's heavier through the upper body. Here as well, you can see that nice turnout, pressing right through using the serratus, externally rotating there, and then press right through. So you get a nice chest stretch on the way down. And this one's a good one to bridge the gap before going further with the rings. So the standing ring one's quite easy, but as soon as you start to go with more of a vertical strap, it gets a lot harder. So here, going onto the knees, and then pressing up, getting that nice turnout, really pressing right through, then coming to the toes. Because as you go up in a push-up, you get a lot more weight in the knees if you stay on the knees. So when you go up to the toes, it transfers that load back into the upper body. And then getting deeper, getting that chest touch, and stretching the chest, and then pressing right through. And obviously, if you're doing push-ups really well, then you kind of supersede the need for planche training to straight arm strength, because you're pressing up into that position. And then you can see here, the deeper you go, it starts to become a back lever as well. So you're really integrating that control through there. So the squat, basic squat, hand on the knees, supporting. That one's a great one. That's mostly used for all the home programs. I get people to start with that, especially if they've got lower back pain, because you can decompress the spine. As you go closer, or into the single leg here, just spotting with the second leg, reaching forward to keep more of a vertical trunk. And these are all body weight versions that can be used without any equipment. They're great, really simple. And here, this is quite heavy. Just using the foot just enough to come up. And then there, just enough to get out of the bottom, and then a full version. And I like this more than the pistol squat for people, because it allows you to keep a nice straight back and hinge in the hip easier, whereas when you pistol, depending on your hamstring flexibility, and I've got very flexible hamstrings, but it's still, you're going to round out and tuck that butt under, which is okay without external load. But as a squat pattern, I like to teach people to hinge more, because that's going to make their back last longer, because the hips are a much stronger joint than the spine. And you saw the weight shift one before, which is great, which is training the side split and the squat, and then here as a loaded version. And that's why I like to do these, so that way even if you didn't train side split, you're training it by doing this type of squat. So really getting strong there in those adductors as well. And then the closed stance squat is going to help you train for that single leg squat. So if you add load to that, then it's going to make it even harder for the single leg. But if you're adding load to the double leg close, it's going to help prepare you for that single leg squat, because you're getting a lot more ankle mobility that's required. So here's just the standard back squat, getting a nice deep stretch, pausing in the bottom, pressing up out of that. So using a barbell on the back, or here a front squat, it's a little bit older clip, pressing up, yeah, and just getting that nice stretch at the bottom, pressing up out of it. Here's a clip when Marcellus was just born, so I don't really train these too much. But if you've got that nice strength on one leg in the single leg squat, you can do all these cool kind of funky things. But just keeping it basic and doing it well will give you the opportunity to train and do all those different variations. So film yours, get them into me, and I'll see you soon.